Good morning, kids, and welcome back to another video of Fox Flicks on the film for this. Today, we're going to take a look at Jax's master plan to see what it is and just how it's going to fail. Now, honestly, if I had to guess, from what I've heard, there are people out there saying Jax is an AI gone rogue. But if that's the case, then one of you have already been figured out. Plus, he has a room. We've seen the door. We haven't seen in the room, of course, which is what many people say proves he's an AI, just because we haven't seen in his room. Technically, we haven't seen inside anyone else's room except two, Kaufmo and Pomni. Surprisingly, we've only seen the clown rooms. And yes, I know, there's promotional material out there where you can see Ragatha, Gangles, the Ribbon Girl's room, and Zubal's room. But that's promotional material, not in the show. I know it could be classed as canon, but let's just say for now, it's not.
One of these characters in the Amazing Digital Circus is an AI imposter, an NPC that somehow slipped through the cracks and is now living amongst the human cast of the circus without anyone noticing. And the worst part of it all, they are the true villain of the show, the real monster torturing the rest of the cast for their own amusement. Hello internets, welcome to Film Theory, the show that wants you to pop that subscribe button like a crocodile-shaped balloon. So finally, after 6 months, we've gotten the return of the wacky world and awesome adventures of the Amazing Digital Circus. And man, episode 2 reveals so much about these characters, this series, and just how this world operates.
So, our entire existence here is just LARPing.
It's like the Ren Fair. In this latest episode, Kane sends the gang to a new level called the Candy Canyon Kingdom, where they fight on candy war rigs, Mad Max style.
What time period is this supposed to be again?
I had the same question, Pomni. During this quest, Pomni and a Candy Crocodile Dundee NPC named Gummy Goo both fall out of bounds into what looks like a developer room. Here, Gummy Goo discovers a copy of himself, lifeless and stuck in a default A pose. I guess the T pose wasn't submissive and agreeable enough, and goes through an existential...
Well, no, of course not. The T-pose is pose for dominance kind of stuff. You gotta do the A.
Crisis after realizing that he's not actually real.
Where's Mum? I can't even remember her face. Did she ever have a face?
Pomni empathizes and invites Gummy Goo to live with the rest of the castmates in the digital circus to find some purpose. But after the gang finishes the adventure, Kane seemingly deletes Gummy Goo, much to Pomni's horror.
Looks like one of these guys made it through.
Wait, what? Boom! For crying out loud!
This episode was dense, and we learned a lot about how the circus works, and also more about each of the main characters. For example, apparently the cast can remember elements from their past lives. It's just their names that have been completely forgotten. We also learn that maybe, just maybe, the AI within this computer game isn't actually that different from the human characters that get sucked into it. Yeah, this was a major theme for the episode. There was a whole multi-minute long conversation dedicated to the subject, and it got me wondering, well, what if there isn't a difference? And what if the series is really going to drive that home with a twist reveal down the road? That's right, friends. I believe that one of our main cast here in the Amazing Digital Circus is an NPC, an AI created by Kane who has somehow wormed their way into the circus and is now living amongst the human cast without anyone noticing. And figuring out exactly who that is will show us who the true villain is in the Amazing Digital Circus. Prepare yourself for an episode that's 57 times more immersive, friends. We're diving in. But before we talk about the bright, colorful characters of the Amazing Digital Circus, let's talk about the bright, colorful clothing of Lumen. So for most...
That's going to be the ad, so we're going to take a cut. And we're back to
history of the Amazing Digital Circus.
Let's go.
Why would I claim that there's an NPC amongst all of the castmates here in the Amazing Digital Circus? Well, not to bury the lead, but Kane heavily implies that an NPC has come into the circus before. At the end of episode 2, when Kane pops Gummy Goo like a balloon, he explains that he did so because Gummy Goo...
Oh, now it makes sense what he said back at the beginning. Damn it, I thought he was making a reference to Bubble and how Bubble is constantly being popped while doing so much stuff he shouldn't do. You parasite! Pop from episode 1.
Who was an NPC.
I know you guys love your NPCs, but if I start losing track of who's a human and who's an NPC, who knows what could happen?
That could have a couple of implications. Maybe...
Kane, you literally could have just created an area for the NPCs. Like, you got a hallway for the humans to live in, so why not a hallway for the NPCs to live in? Like, for crying out loud. You!
Kane accidentally deleted a human castmate before, or maybe one of these humans is actually an NPC. Well, the latter seems much more likely because it doesn't seem like Kane can delete humans. When characters like Kaufmo abstract, Kane doesn't delete them despite that being an easier solution. Instead, he just throws them down into the cellar. No, more likely, an NPC has made it back to the circus before, and Kane just can't remember who is who anymore. That seems like an awfully big Chekhov's gun to hang on the wall and never go off. And this isn't even the only piece of evidence pointing towards a human character actually being an NPC.
I changed Wix.
Oh, that's an ad. We'll be right back. And we're back. Let's continue.
Actually, in episode 2, there was a lot of emphasis put on the concept of AI and just how advanced they are. First off, while trying to entice Zubul to join in on the adventure in the Candy Canyon Kingdom, Kane tells her that
I'm testing out a new AI in this one. It should be 57 times more immersive.
this shows us that Kane is working on making his NPC characters more advanced, that creating more realistic, human-like AI is a priority for this computer system. And elsewhere in the episode, we see this to be true. The AI of the NPCs we see in this new level is far and away more advanced than what we see in episode 1. First off, Princess Lou of the Candy Kingdom welcomes the cast as brave knights sent by God to help the kingdom in their time of need. As you can see from that stained glass window, the God here is clearly Kane. Therefore, these AI are advanced enough to understand that Kane created them and make their own religion around that, exactly how humans do in the real world. But more prominently than that, the themes of this episode really take a dive into what separates humanity from AI, if anything at all. One of the biggest moments here was Gummigoo's internal existential crisis after falling below the map, where he realizes that nothing in his life is really real. His friends, his mom, even himself, none of them are actually real people.
I don't matter in the slightest. I'm nothing. My life, my memories, my friends, it's all fake.
First off, this shows us that the AI of the NPCs here in the digital circus is advanced enough to become
So what if it's all fake? It doesn't matter if it's real to you or fake to someone else. Because all that matters is, well, you.
self-aware. Gummigoo absolutely understands that he isn't real. It's also worth noting that Gummigoo doesn't shut down or get fried or abstract. He just becomes a bit of a sad boy once he realizes his situation, exactly the same way humans do when they have their own existential crises in the real world. Been there, done that, my man. So the AI is even sturdy enough to handle that sort of shock to the system. And the thing that pulls Gummigoo out of this depression? It's Pomni and her empathy. She lets Gummigoo know that she understands how he's feeling, and that even people who come from her world, the real world, have these thoughts too. And when she invites Gummigoo to come back to the circus with the cast, Gummigoo asks,
Would I even belong?
I'm sure you wouldn't belong any less than me.
Pomni is straight up telling Gummigoo that it doesn't matter if he's real or not. They are the same. At the very least, this is driving home the theme that the AI in this game and its human characters aren't actually so different. And combined with everything else we've talked about, the show is absolutely seeding the possibility that one of the human characters is not what they seem. And so now that begs the question, who is it? Which one of them is an NPC? Right off the bat, we can likely eliminate Zubul and Gangle. We haven't really had a chance to dig into their characters yet, and the show seems more interested in exploring them as comic relief than big twists. What about Kinger? He's supposedly been there the longest, and is definitely the one that seems the most glitchy, for the lack of a better term. Again, I'm not so convinced. Similar to Zubul and Gangle, he's being positioned more as a side character, and one that really reflects both the comedy and tragedy of the situation the humans are trapped in. What's more, there's a lot of evidence pointing to Kinger being a QA developer who got sucked into the game. In the pilot, he asks,
Did someone say something about an insect collection?
and again, when he sees the gloinks, he wonders,
An insect collection?
and then in the Candy Kingdom in episode 2, he points out,
They've even got little candy bugs here. It's so beautiful.
this interest in insects would make sense if he was a bug tester in his past human life. So,
Bugs! Oh, that actually makes a whole lot of sense. I didn't see that. Thumbs up from the Frenchman.
it wouldn't make sense
I'm
for him
not
to also
Fred, it's
be
a
an
joke.
NPC. That leaves us with just Ragatha and Jax. At first glance, Ragatha does seem like a good candidate, despite telling Pomni that there were no hard feelings for leaving her to the abstracted Kaufmo. If someone ever says that in a series like this, that means there are definitely hard feelings. So maybe she's being set up here as a secret antagonistic AI down the line. But at the same time, they're also really positioning her as a parallel to Pomni. She's trying to help Pomni fit in and feel better in exactly the same way that Pomni was trying with Gummy Goo. Thematically, it makes more sense for Ragatha to fall into the mentor archetype, showing Pomni the ropes, before Ragatha inevitably falls to the mentor occupational hazard trope, showing Pomni the dark fate that she herself could face. So no, I don't believe that they're setting
I really hope she doesn't get abstracted.
Ragatha up to be an AI, which leaves us with Jax. And oh man, it could definitely be Jax. And there's a surprising amount of evidence pointing towards it.
Oop, hold on. Sorry about that. I was trying to pause the video and say that's an ad, but I ended up pausing the recording instead. Well, either way, we're back. And now let's continue on. That was on me. Wrong button yet again. I'm sorry.
Jax being an NPC would make a lot of his quirks suddenly make a lot more sense. For example, Jax is the only character who's able to keep his head steady while driving a truck over the rocky road.
Okay,
Something
that
that
was
would probably be much easier for a computer program
How did I not notice that?
or an AI to do rather than a human. Additionally, gravity doesn't seem to affect him in the same way as the others. Notice that during the Mad Max truck chase sequence, characters like Pomni are thrown around by the momentum of the trucks. She has to hold on to prevent herself from being flung off the vehicles. But Jax, he stands upright as the truck plummets vertically into the chocolate river. This is much more similar to the Gator NPC Max, who is able to pull himself back up onto the bandit's truck while similarly ignoring the laws of physics. Jax is acting more like an NPC here than the human cast. Now, obviously, these moments are played for comedic effect, but they stood out to me either way. Do you want some more serious examples? Well,
Please.
for one, Jax is incredibly good at getting into places that he shouldn't. In the pilot, Jax reveals that he has keys to everywhere, all the other rooms in the circus. Additionally, he is able to very easily steal the key to the kingdom walls in episode 2. To me, this sounds a lot like Jax has sort of administrator access to the circus and its connected levels, like he's part of the computer system more so than the other cast. Oh, and another big thing here, he's the only one of the main cast that seems to break the fourth wall. It's kind of a blink and you miss it moment, but in the first episode, Jax looks straight at the camera, straight at us. Though this could be played off as us being in the point of view of Ragatha, who immediately asks,
why are you looking at me like that?
it's still a weird moment,
exactly.
and in episode 2, he does it again, shrugging directly at the viewer. The only other character we've seen act similarly is another NPC, Kane, when he
himself,
speaks directly to the audience at the beginning of the pilot.
My name is Kane. I'm your ringmaster.
What's more, Jax is also very interested in food, which is something we've only seen from NPCs and AI in the digital circus. Yeah, this was actually pointed out by Truthful Hero over on our subreddit, but Jax is the only one of the main castmates to show any real sign of hunger or even interest in food.
Oh no, they killed Zubul. Anyway, you guys want to go get something to eat? You know, I am pretty hungry.
You didn't even do anything.
So what? I can still be hungry.
Why is this significant? Well, according to Kinger, the humans in the digital world have no need to eat, drink, or sleep.
Well, not really. Because we don't need to eat, drink, or sleep in this digital world, so the digital food here only gives off the virtual sensation of eating without any of the nutritional benefits.
However,
So maybe it's literally just that. I mean, you don't have to be hungry, you don't actually have to be hungry to eat. Like, ask anyone that's ever been in a depression. And you just eat to eat. You don't have to feel the actual hunger for it. And I actually speak from experience for that shit myself.
NPCs do seem to need food. Like in episode 2, the crocodile bandits say that
This much syrup would save hundreds of people.
this implies that foods like syrup can help NPCs, and this isn't even the only time we see NPCs eating or talking about food. In episode 1, Bubble eats the angel food cake.
You parrot! parasites!
The glowing queen eats Zubul, and the fudge speaks about eating many of the candy townsfolk. We even see Kane and Bubble in a restaurant during the pilot, though it doesn't look like their food has arrived yet. Additionally, though we do see the human characters at a table set with food during the Last Supper scene in the pilot, we don't see any of them eating. And this was given to them as a reward by Kane, an AI who would see food as essential. So Jack's craving food, unlike any of the other human characters we've seen so far, is another tell that he's an AI. But wait, I hear you saying, doesn't the show's official synopsis say that the amazing digital circus is about 6 humans subjected to the whims of wacky AI? And yes, that is correct. However, there are ways to explain this. Firstly, it could just be a marketing misdirect. I mean, you don't want to reveal your big twist in the synopsis you released before the first episode. But even still, assuming that the synopsis is correct, it can still work. That 6th human could be Kaufmo the clown. Yeah, while we don't see him before he abstracts, he still is present in the first episode of the series. And his funeral played a big, thematic, important part in episode 2. That would mean that he's still in the series and was still subjected to the whims of this wacky AI, thus making that synopsis still technically correct.
The best kind of correct.
And what's more, this isn't actually the only synopsis of the show that we've gotten so far. Gooseworks had a different one over on her teaser for the series uploaded to her personal YouTube channel, and this one describes the circus as a 3D animated pilot about a rogue AI that relentlessly has fun adventures with 6 human souls. Has fun adventures with is an interesting phrase to use here, since Kane never goes on any adventures with the cast. Yes, he makes them, and he pushes the other characters to join in on them, but he never goes on them himself. In both the in-house adventure from the pilot and the Candy Kingdom in episode 2, he just kinda goes off and does his own thing after sending the cast on their way. But do you know who does go on the adventures with the other characters? Jax. And not only that, but he's excited to. In episode 1, as soon as Pomni shows up, like immediately afterward, he asks,
"So, Kane, we having a new adventure today for the newbie or what?"
In episode 2, he tries to get Zubul to tag along.
Ooh, a new AI. You don't want to mess with the new AI, Zuby?
And his reasoning for all of it?
I'm fine with doing whatever, as long as I get to see funny things happen to people.
He just wants to mess with them. Sounds like something a rogue AI who wants to torment the cast would think, doesn't it? And again, like rogue AI and torment are weird words to describe Kane and what he does, right? Like, listen, I get it. What Kane is putting these characters through does not necessarily seem like a walk in the park. But torment? That doesn't track either. And at the very least, we do know that there seems to be some fun.
He like offhandedly causes torment. And he doesn't cause it personally, he just lets it happen.
Had by these human characters on the adventures. Ragatha and Kinger both seem excited by the Candy Kingdom castle, and Ragatha instantly likes Princess Lou.
Your kingdom's awesome, by the way. Love the vibe. I like you already.
Love the vibe.
Look, Pomni, we're already friends with the princess.
That doesn't sound like someone who's tormented to me. But do you know who does torment the cast? Day in and day out, every time we see them? Jax. He's physically abusive. Like, just to name a few instances, he steps on Gangle's mask without caring, throws a bowling ball at Kinger to knock him into the glowing glare, pushes Gangle over for no reason, and throws Pomni out of the candy truck without a second thought. On top of that, he threatens them. Often. He tells Ragatha that he left a centipede, her worst fear, hidden in her room. Forces Gangle to ram the syrup tanker, or he'll tell Ragatha about the figurine thing, and saying that Ragatha's hair looks like licorice in front of a monster that eats people made out of candy. He doesn't even bother to show up for Kaufmo's funeral, and he gets very unhappy when bad guys seem to die, like when the Fudge is seemingly killed in the Candy Kingdom.
I'm so unbelievably disappointed.
He even leaves the kingdom gates open for the Fudge so he can murder the candy citizens. I could go on and on and on, but you get it. A rogue AI that torments others.
Okay, I'm not 100% buying it now, but I'm also not 100% denying it now. Well, if anything, Jax, there's a chance he's a rogue AI causing torment, but then again, he could also just straight up be an asshole.
It lines up way more with Jax, because even if he isn't the bad guy of the show, he's definitely a...
Is it sociopath or psychopath? a sociopath, isn't it?
Bad guy. On her Tumblr, Gooseworks has gone into great detail about how despicable Jax is. He's morally the worst character in the show. When a fan said that they hoped that Jax would get worse, she said that you're probably going to enjoy some of the things we have planned, and then later reiterated that he will become much worse. Which I would say is accurate given how mean and cruel we see him being in episode 2. And perhaps most important for us here today, when asked if Jax was just a jerk or an anti-hero, Gooseworks explains that there's absolutely nothing heroic about him. Would that be because he's actually the villain here? Yeah, friends, clearly. They are positioning Jax to be the true villain of this show, not Kane. And the biggest thing that clinched this for me, that convinced me that Jax was going to be the big bad who would break the system, believe it or not, it was the merch. Yeah, Jax has been positioned as a major character for Glitch through their merchandising since the very beginning. When the pilot for the Amazing Digital Circus first aired, tell me, what 2 characters do you think they made plushies out of? That they had ready for you to buy immediately as the episode ended? It was Pomni and Jax. Now, Pomni makes total sense. She is the main character after all. But why Jax and not someone like Kane, who is the other poster character for the series, who is arguably the main antagonist?
I mean, they could have also done Bubble, because Bubble is extremely simple. It's literally a ball with a smile.
Position Jax to be just as important as Pomni with these plushes. And that isn't even the biggest hint we get through Glitch's merchandise. See, all of the main characters for the Amazing Digital Circus now have enamel pins over on Glitch's store, and the card back for each of them has them in either the character's room or an environment directly connected to the character. Like, Pomni is in her bedroom, as is Gangle, Zooble, and Ragatha. Kinger is in his pillow fort from episode 1, while Kane and Bubble are on the circus stage. But
oh, look at that! Hold on, hold on.
Fort from episode 1, while Kane and Bubble are...
Okay, look! Look, those Bubble and those Kane on their respective cards. They literally just took Kane's, zoomed in on Bubble, and put down on the thing for him. Because that's the exact same Kane there, but the Bubble is different. So they made Kane, and then was like, oh crap, we need to do one for Bubble. Done. Look at that. I love it.
On the circus stage. But where do you think that they put Jax? In his bedroom, like the others? In the main circus floor? Hiding somewhere? Breaking into someone else's room? Nope. Unlike the others, he's just outside of his bedroom. His nameplate broken and letters on the floor. But most importantly, the texture on the back of the card has been ripped, revealing the glitchy void underneath. Not even Kane, the ringleader for the circus who creates and controls all of the levels of this world, is shown here in the void. His pin is still contained within the circus, but Jax is breaking apart from it, tearing it down. Why would they add this detail only to Jax's pin if they weren't trying to tell us that there's something deeper going on with this character? That just underneath the surface, he's glitchy and robotic and computer-generated, just like the Void. The evidence speaks for itself. Someone in this cast is definitely an AI, and Jax is the perfect candidate. He's malicious, he's weird, he's different from the other characters, and even his merch has set him apart. So I'm calling it here. Don't be surprised when he's revealed to be the big bad AI at the end of this series. But that being said, Jax wasn't the only contender I had in mind while writing this video. There's actually a lot of evidence pointing towards Pomni being an NPC too, which we will be exploring very soon. Yeah, we'll be doing another episode exploring the possibility that Pomni is actually a secret AI NPC in the near future. So subscribe if you don't want to miss that episode when it hits. But until then, as always, remember that it's all just a theory. A film theory. And cut. And
well, I have to say, this was kind of an interesting one to actually, listen and hear about. It's honestly something. Well, alright then everyone, that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original video in the description below, and I'll see you kids next time when we flick on. Peace out.